Good.
Just a reminder, this meeting is being recorded. If any member of the public would like to sign up for public comment, please do so by signing your name up via the chat.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Here is our opening statement. My apologies for being late. Technology situation here. Next slide, please. Can we do a roll call?
Yes, we can. Arano Ortiz,
Present.
Bal,
Here.
Heiler. I know he's here. I see him. I am acknowledged. I see John. Hawkins,
Here.
Leonard,
Here.
Rush.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. Next, approval of the minutes from May. I hope that everybody had a chance to see it. Can I get a motion, please?
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? All approved?
Approved.
Approved. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the core of the meeting today, it's going to be our audited financials. This is the first audit since Emily took over. And so, you got it. Yes. So, just to let you all know, I was on the bookies tournament yesterday and my team won. So I will be bringing my trophy and display proudly.
You know that's a public record now, Evelyn, right?
It is a public record.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So here's my
I'll share this
the
at the
right.
full. I'll share this at the full board, just so you know.
I didn't know if Pamela was going to be able to get the picture from Jane. So we had a great time. It was pretty close. It's a scramble, but my team won. So in my team, I had Jason, Sean, Ed, and myself. We
Fantastic.
also, wait a minute. And we swept everything because I got closest to the pin and Ed got longest drive. So we swept with all prices. So
Well
we had
done.
a great fun.
Well done.
So I keep challenging you all and then you don't show up. So I don't know, gotta do something. All right, next slide. No, the other way. All right, so I'm gonna pass it on to Kyle, who has been working on leading the audited financials. And just to remind you all, this is around trustee funds, okay? Kyle.
Kyle, just so you know, you should see a little tab on your screen that says control the slides. So your slides number-wise will not match up with the slides because we have additional slides. So you have control of them. It just takes a second when you hit the forward button.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Evelyn. Good morning, everyone. Kyle Connors, I'm a partner out of Markham's Providence office. And this is our third year working with the Boston Public Library, and we are going to be reviewing the library's 2024 financial statement results. Certainly feel free to ask questions as we go through if you have any, and I'll be happy to answer them. Let's see if this control slide works. All right, perfect. So we're going to go through the financial results. Before we get into that, just want to thank Emily and Sean and the finance team for very great communication as we began the audit process. Being here on September 19th and having a draft financial statement in good order and being able to present these financial results to you is a heavy lift in a short amount of time, and certainly takes two sides, us and them. So just want to acknowledge their ability to get us everything that we requested during the audit. If you were to read through the financial statements, you'd see that we're issuing a clean audit opinion, meaning that we feel the financial statements are free of material misstatements. So overall, the net position for the library increased 4.6 million year over year, predominantly due to increases in the city managed funds of 2.1 million. Obviously 2024 was a good market. And so investments did well, and overall resulted in investment gain of about 5.8 million, offset by expenditures of 3.7. So a $2.1 million gain in investments. Also, there was a significant increase in the BPL fund of about 1.3 million in contributions received over expenditures. Looking at revenue trends, and we've shown these in the proper order, left to right, as opposed to right to left in prior years. So as you can see, intergovernmental revenue has been a steady increase, even through COVID. But there were other revenue line items that had a significant decrease during COVID that have continued to increase coming out of it, including special events, fees, and contributions.
So can you go back for a minute?
Absolutely.
Emily, question. I'm confused about fees. Because what's included under fees? Because I thought we had gotten rid of certain.
We got rid of late fees. So if people lose a book, they do still have to recover the cost to replace the book or the item that they've lost. I believe that it's paid for print fees. That's also changing this year. But let me do a little digging and I can get back to you on that.
Okay. No, because it's interesting that, of course we had COVID, but then as we get to normals, then it's pretty much on par. But I just wanted clarification on that. And then special events went up to normal levels, increased, and then plateaued. Question around that. Is that because, are we plateaued because we are at capacity?
The majority of it is at capacity. There's only so many rooms and so many dates available. So we're at a really healthy number there, while still being able to maintain the public service that we want to.
Right. So basically, because what that is saying to me is the most that we can capture from special events is that $2 million mark, because we don't have added capacity.
And it's a really successful number, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's
from that arena.
Yeah, that I know. That's why I'm asking. Because we cannot. The reason I say that is it's not that we can say, well, if we needed more money, not that we do, but we needed more money. We can increase special events. We can't. It's plateaued mostly because we're at capacity.
That would be it. So we really don't
have
any free weekend dates available any longer.
Okay.
Yeah, and in fact, the danger of going into a McKim construction project at some point in the future is it will actually take those spaces offline at some point in time. But then presumably once that miraculous renovation is finally complete, there will be new spaces back online that perhaps could be added to the portfolio after hours for rental business. But you're correct. From listening to Emily and Trish, the new head of special events, it's really close to capacity. So there's only a small delta of incremental possibilities there. Your other options would, of course, be to control price or decrease cost, but those would have a quality impact, and that's not what the market would bear. So,
okay. So we need to make a mental note about that when we do financial planning, because when we do renovations at McKim, that will be a decrease in revenue in special events, and we need to talk about that here, of what the impact will that be. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you. Sorry, Cap.
No problem. Looking at the library's general fund, total fund balance increased 659,000. The unassigned fund balance is 146,000, and the assigned fund balance is 3.2 million. It's important when we're looking at total fund balance to look at the unassigned and the assigned, because the assigned is not restricted by outside sources. It's not restricted by contributions. It's internally designated funds, and that 3.2 million is predominantly assigned to IT equipment, books, neighborhood outreach, staff development, but it can certainly be modified and used for other uses. So when we're looking at fund balance as a as a percentage of current year expenditures, if you just looked at the unassigned fund balance, it would be about 1.4%. But when you combine the two together, unassigned and assigned, you get 31.9% of your total expenditures in fund balance in your general fund. Typically, a healthy target for a municipal entity would be between 8 and 16%, and certainly that 32% eclipses that normal healthy target.
Oh, Kyle, sorry, question. The contributions on the prior slide, I'm sorry, and you don't need to flip it. Is that fund contributions?
Yes, I would say the majority
The
of
BPL fund.
contributions are
I was
fund.
gonna say BPL fund.
Yep, that's
Okay.
the majority of about 3.2 million of that is BPL fund.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
And Kyle, on your last point before the question, this relates only to the percentage of the trust fund balances for reserve, not the total annual budget, because that's on the city side.
That's correct. Yep,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Yep.
And as you can see, that fund balance has grown steadily over the last 7 years.
Yep.
Certainly, I'd say half of our audit is ensuring that the financial statements are free of material misstatements and performing those audit procedures. The other half is looking at the library's control transaction cycles. So controls over receiving revenue and recognizing it, cash disbursements, payroll, financial reporting, reporting to the board, and also looking into your information technology general controls. And so we do a deep dive on these each year. And I'm happy to note that we don't have any significant findings to bring to your attention with regard to your internal controls. And I'm happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
I just wanted to note that our chair of the board is also just observing the committee today, just so that everyone is aware.
Thank you.
Welcome, Ray. All right, questions from trustees? This is the time. Ray, I think it would be beneficial to just go back a couple of slides. I think you missed sort of the, sorry, Kyle.
Not a problem. I'm assuming this is the one in question.
Yeah, so actually, no, I like the library operations one too. One more.
Oop, one more, sorry.
Yeah. So Ray, here's sort of the kind of the breakout. The net increase position was 4.6 million. These audited financials are specifically to trustee funds. But then here you see a layout of where the money is coming from. Can you?
Not for now, but it'd be helpful. I saw this. It'd be helpful later on offline, probably just to understand more the expenditures, sort of what things we use the money for, but we don't have to go through it now.
Okay. All right. All right, Cal. So if you saw, if you saw these slides, any questions that you have?
Not from my point of view. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So question from trustees in terms of these slides.
Just one question on the mix between the unassigned and assigned funds. Just how do we think about that change over time? Right, it's much more sort of assigned now than percentage-wise than it was before. Is that an issue? How do we feel about that?
I don't think that there's a significant impact between assigning funds to a certain use versus leaving it in unassigned. Only because those funds are, like I said, they're not restricted by outside sources. So if you had, $1 million set aside and assigned for books and you wanted to transition that money to something else in a different use, it would be very easy to do so.
I think from trending perspective, and this is just doing it off memory, our unassigned fund has gone down. Like, how much we keep on unassigned. I know that in the past we've had large sums of unassigned dollars. I think, and this is again just off memory. I don't have anything concrete in front of me, but I think it's one of the lowest numbers I've seen for a long time.
Yeah,
That's accurate. I think one of Kyle's slides shows that as well. So what we're trying to do is set aside some funds where we know we're going to need it for the upcoming year. And I think Kyle threw $1 million out there just coincidentally, but we did actually create a management assigned fund just for book spending for next year that we populated with $1 million in it. That's one to assist us in hitting our state aid requirement that we have for the amount of book spend that's required for the year, but also just allowing the collection development team to have some funds available toward the end of the year when we tend to run out of book money, so that they'll have some cash available to purchase some things toward the end of the fiscal year.
Okay.
And I would just note too, yeah, I mean, that number has trended down. Evelyn, you're correct. But if the library is different than a normal municipality. If this was a town that had general government, public safety, public works, and had, all these functions of government to allocate its budget to, I think it's more imperative to have a higher unassigned fund balance versus the operations of the library are very focused on your mission and your goals. And it's not as imperative to have such a significant unassigned fund balance.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions? All right. So we're taking
Evelyn, just real quickly.
Go ahead.
I apologize.
So,
Evelyn, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just real quickly before the vote. And I got knocked off for a bit, so I don't know if it was covered or not. We've got some really strong intergovernmental funding. We've got a really strong revenue line. The city, the state, like we've been able to really manage that, and it's been a real positive. Have we done any critical testing, and maybe it's while things are stable and good, if there was a drop off, if the state did or the city ran into challenges and issues, and you look at the tax base, kind of what that analysis would look like, some sensitivity analysis on some of these pockets dropping and what would that mean. So just not now, but it's something we may want to think about doing, just so everything's been so good for so long. I get always nervous with that. And I just think it might be worthwhile going forward to talk about it, maybe at the next meeting, some sensitivity analysis on just funding. That's all.
Yeah, one of the things that I mentioned, I don't know if you were on the
I got knocked off for a bit. Sorry.
Yeah, so did you hear my commentary around the special events? So
yes, I did hear that. Yeah.
So we are at capacity when we close McKim. That's the first thing that we're gonna see. Yeah. That's reality, right? That's not playing pretend, but that's reality. But at the same time, that would put us we want to understand what that means. Yeah. And so that may be an opportunity to also look at other areas, to do some, I'm going to call it some financial modeling around that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think that makes sense. And David, is there an opportunity with McKim and that revenue loss to talk to the city about like helping us over that little hurdle, even though it's, money we've raised?
This is why I both enjoy and dislike doing the trustee funds as a separate topic, because it's all interrelated at the end of the day in terms of expense management. I think on the McKim sensitivity, we will never be closer than 2 years away, probably more like 4 to 5 from predicting when that change would occur. So we'll have a long runway and a long window into that particular sensitivity from a capacity point of view. The market is the market. That's anyone's guess. I do think on the trustee state contributions, part of that expense side has a cap around the 50% mark going to personnel. So there's some built-in safety nets around where that exposure would take effect should it occur. So I think on the lines that show up in this audit, in our finances on the trustee side, we have very healthy visibility into risk factors and sensitivities. I think, the fact that, well, the problem, of course, and the challenge is that the majority of it comes from the city side, and the city operating budget has continued to grow for the library's allocation on the 2 to 4 to 5% range. What I cannot tell you is because things are costing more than they did before, I'm not sure that we're actually in real terms keeping pace with what the cost of personnel and materials and books actually is. So I think there are some sensitivities on that deeper expense side, but that's not really what we're ready to talk about today. So I would welcome the opportunity to talk more broadly about long-term sensitivities and what that would mean. We have the benefit, I think, of many of our senior managers having lived through at least the 2008, if not having memories and documents around the 2001, 2002 sensitivities and the impacts of those times. So while I don't want to suggest we need to be preparing for that, we should also have gamed out what our options would be and understand what the trustees' priorities would be when it comes to hard choices, should they ever be necessary.
Emily, quick question. Do we and Kyle, I know that because I'm thinking about Ray's question, the expenses, we have a budget that says here where we're going to spend the money, right? It's like share majority salaries, books, whatever. Do we, as part of this audit or as part of the work that you do, Emily, have you done a actuals versus budget for last year to see, where do we have the variations?
We do have those. I don't have them right in front of me, but I can certainly send that out to everyone. We have to wait, obviously, until the audit's over so that we have the final actuals. But we do have that comparison for a number of years available.
Okay, yeah, if you could share that as an action, that would be great. All right, anything else? All right, so if there's nothing else, I'm going to count to 3.
One quick question, Kyle, if you would comment on the timeliness, because I think we have hard deadlines for the city submission where we roll up as a component entity, and any of our dependencies on other entities for their submissions to us being component entities of us.
Sure, no problem. So we're waiting on final financial statements from the component unit fund. We have a draft, and that's been included in the draft that I've shared with everyone. Once their financial statements go final, these financial statements can go final, obviously contingent upon your approval of them.
Which is the BPL funds board meeting this afternoon to finalize approval of their financials.
Okay, so from a timeline perspective, we are recommending the financials for approval, and then we go to full board for a full vote. So the vote that we're having now is to recommend the draft of the audited financials to be presented to the full board next week. All right, so can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you.
Mike.
Can I get, anybody disagrees? Any nays? Any abstentions? Everybody yay?
Aye.
Yes.
So
All
moved.
right.
Yay.
Thank you, Mike.
So
All
moved.
right. All right. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. You
Thanks,
can drop
everyone.
off and we move on to contracts. Thank you.
Just one for this morning, so fairly quick coverage here. In preparation for the renovation of the Fields Corner branch that will start toward the end of October. This is a contract for the movement and the storage of the material, so the books that are inside the branch. So we are asking for approval to award the contract to Meyer, who we've worked with multiple times, and the total is just over $57,000.
All right. Did this go, this didn't go to RFP, did it?
It did an IFB, so
Okay.
they are the lowest qualified bidder.
Got it.
Responded to the IFB.
Okay. All right. Any questions? No? Okay. So get a motion?
Moved. So moved.
Second? Second?
Second.
All right. Any nays? Any abstentions? All approve? Yay.
Approve.
So approved.
Can everyone say it? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So moved.
All right.
Aye.
So November time change. Everybody said okay to 4 o'clock?
Yes, I changed the time on the
Okay.
calendar and I will change it on our website as well. The time for the November meeting on November 12th will be 4 p.m.
Okay. The other thing that I want to mention in new business, this is the last, so we do the RFPs for the auditing firm every 5 years. So this is the last year for these guys. So I believe we're going to be starting a new RFP for the next year, right, Emily?
It's every 3 years. But
Every
this
3
is
years,
the
sorry.
conclusion of their third. So we would put another one through for the spring.
Right. And they can bid again.
Correct.
And we have renovated or extended, but we need to issue another one every 3 years. So just wanted to alert everybody that that's going to be happening. Any other new business? No? Do we have any public comments?
We do not have any public comment.
All right. All right. Well, then that's it. 30 minutes. There we go. All right. And I was late.
Work. Nice job.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Thank
Take
you.
care, everyone.
All right. Have a great weekend.
See you
Bye.
on Tuesday.
Well done. Well
See,
done.
Well done,
see everyone
Evelyn.
Tuesday.
Thank you. See-
Cheers, guys.
And
Bye.
With my trophy. Bye.